I'm Jason Goldberg, and I'm the dealer. I run a very successful flooring business that I started from zero and built to 175 million. And two, I tell you how it is. I'm going to look at your business. I'm going to tell you what you're doing good, what you're doing bad. You get it from me, you're getting the truth. No sugarcoat, no nothing. You want to run a successful flooring business? Sometimes someone needs to give it to you straight. Welcome to the dealer.
In the first episode of The Dealer, Jason Goldberg visits Jason Potts, owner of RIC Flooring in Marion, Iowa. Potts is a veteran, former flooring installer, husband, and father of three. But as an owner, this is new territory for him, and that's why he called in The Dealer.
So Jason, this is your family?
Yes, this is Amanda, my wife.
Hi, Jason. Thank you so much for coming down. I've heard so much about you. I'm excited for this experience, and we look forward to your expertise.
Well, thank you. I hope you heard all good things.
All great things.
We're going to make a real big impact while I'm here.
I'm excited.
And these are your little ones. Who do we have?
This is McKinley.
Hi, McKinley.
This is Wesley.
Hi, Wesley.
This is little Abigail.
Hi, Abigail.
And they've been with us since the very beginning with RIC, and so they're my biggest cheerleaders. The whole family is, and it's kind of why we do what we do today, and trying to be successful in this industry is a big key for us.
This is a really good reason to do what you're doing. Get you out of bed every day.
It does.
You guys look like the future flooring installers of RIC Flooring.
Yep.
All right. Jason, I'd love to meet your team.
All right, Jason. So this is Alex. She's
Hi, Alex.
She's my one and only sales gal here at the table that helps
Okay.
me with all sales, generates sales, schedules measures, generates quotes, and helps me kind of get the day through with the sales that you are very aware I'm struggling with. So
Okay.
me and her here at the store, we're kind of pretty stressed out here. So I'm looking forward to her learning quite a bit about a new process that I've never been able to do. Josh.
Josh.
Is my installation coordinator.
Nice to meet you.
He deals with commercial takeoffs. We've done one commercial job. He deals with all installers. He deals with scheduling the installs, and he deals with all the deliveries on the job sites, and also the follow-ups on all customers after installations are done. He is what's brought a lot of installation training to us. So
Okay.
a lot to learn from him still to this day. And they got the other Josh. We got
Josh,
your
nice to meet you.
And this Josh is the warehouse coordinator. He deals with all the books, all the order materials, all the receipts, and then also all job casting after jobs are done, making sure everything evens out and make sure the numbers are right, which we're looking very forward to you helping us on that end too.
Great. Well, look, I look forward to spending some time with each of you one-on-one over the next couple of days, and we'll dig a little bit deeper into what you do and what we can do to possibly improve that process. Pleasure to meet all of you. I really like the look of the showroom. It was well laid out, curated, so walked in and had a really good first impression. Then I got to meet Jason's wife and his three kids, which I really loved to see what he does this business for. In the back of my head, I'm thinking, I hope I don't have to tear this guy apart, which I know I'm gonna have to do because I get to meet this young family that he has, and I know that this is what he's doing this business for. So, you know, kind of pulls at the heartstrings knowing that I'm going to tear it down to help him build it back up. But it also makes me feel good knowing that I'm going to be able to help him and his family. Then it's always great meeting the team. You know, who are those people that are there to support? And at this point, I don't know much about anybody. So, but good, very good first impression.
All right, Jason, so this is the first and initial way my very first showroom was set up. So this wall was specifically for me to put my best sellers on, my top trenders. And so you'll see a lot of things are empty, but I'm waiting for me to find out what these are to rebuild the samples for this wall.
I noticed in some you have one sample and some you have multi. Just so if it goes home with a customer, you have
right.
it. Okay.
So I make 3 for each, and that's the way it works. And if it's not a big trender, I'll just put one, and then I'll just keep making samples as we go. So when installers aren't busy, they make samples for me.
Okay.
The next thing is that I got the 55-inch visualizer TV. The other one did really well for me at my last store, and this has helped me tremendously for clients in their houses.
Show me how it works.
So essentially you can pick a photo or you can upload your own. To upload it, you just click the upload and you take a picture of the QR code. So, I mean, it's a great tool. We love it, and it's done really well for us so far.
I love it. Let me see the rest of your showroom.
I have a small space, and so what I did is I actually took a blueprint, made my blueprint, and I set it up because I wanted it to be just like at FloorCon that we showed. It was Newton, Proximity, Doma, Paradiso. And so this is kind of how it's set up, just like that, and it kind of helps us understand so we're not bouncing from a tile section to a carpet section. We actually have, Newton has everything it needs other than tile. Proximity has everything. It has the vinyl, it has the tile, it has the carpet, and it's all in this area for Proximity Mills products. So that is an awesome tool for us to have because typically at another store, you're going to a big tile section and then you got to go all the way across the store to go to another section. And there's not like one brand or one style that, you know, newer sales teams like me or Alex that we're still learning on, well, what brand or which style can we do, and then get complacent with 3 different styles that we're used to. So where this is comfortable.
Okay. What's beautiful, let's see the backyard.
The back end's still in the works. So what I plan on doing is I plan on having stations. I know interior designers are at other stores, they work at stores. And so what I'm doing is I'm creating sections for them to use in my space.
So let me ask you a question. You have this for a specific realtor,
Correct.
but why would another realtor want to work right here with this realtor's?
They don't, it's jealousy. I want them to be jealous. I want them to be here. I want them to I want to earn their work by them giving it to me.
I know, but I guess I don't understand is what are you going to do? If you have 20 realtors using it, you can't put 20 of these up, right?
Correct.
So would you just take that down?
No,
Okay.
I would give Monica Hayes. I would like to I don't like to burn my bridges,
Right.
but what I will do is I'll have additional cards in these drawers. But it's up to the profound style or interior designer to come to me first for this spot. You know, there's nothing crazy about it. It's just me getting their clients to come here or me having that same network, just as you would for a blog or, you know, another website. It's like me putting my name in their website or them putting it in mine. And then that way it kind of helps me gain a network and it gives my consumers more of a resource for other contracts.
Okay. The reality is when I first walked in your store this morning, this is significantly nicer than I was expecting. So congratulations. I mean, this FSU setup is awesome. I wasn't expecting it to be this good. That being said, it's so nice in here. You have so minor details, like those minor details could be finished pretty quickly.
Right.
And then you're done, right?
Right.
So speaking about the minor details and getting done, I want to get back to your operational process because we need to talk about that. Because once you start closing more business, which you are going to do, you need an operational process that's going to be able to handle that. So again, really impressed with this showroom. It's a small showroom, but really good job of how he designed it, curated it. The FSU program in there really looks great. So compliments, it was certainly better than what I was expecting. However, that sign on the wall for that one realtor, that's a mistake. And talking to Jason, that interaction, his reasoning for doing it and what he is projecting what's gonna happen is just wrong. That sign needs to come down. Can't just focus on that one realtor. You just can't do that. So that whole wall needs redesign. And I'm not sure if I got that through clear enough, but I have to talk to Jason again and we'll talk about it, but that's certainly a mistake. All right, so Jason, I want to get some background on your business. When you started, how you started, just start filling me in from the beginning and I'll ask you questions along the way.
Well, just to keep it short and sweet is, you know, I came back from a deployment. Essentially, I've been in construction my whole career. And in 2016, I came back and I started construction all over again. I started framing, started doing general carpentry work, you know, just things that I really didn't enjoy, but I liked doing. So I looked at something called the Lumber Liquidator store. They had an ad out and I talked to a guy, and what he does is he's an install firm for most of the lumber liquidators in the Midwest. So I ended up getting a job with him through Lumber Liquidators, and what happened was I installed my very first floor that day.
With no experience?
No
installation experience?
Correct. Not a single floor in my life, but I was pretty determined to get into a new industry, a new field to prove.
Did you tell the guy you had installed floors before?
Absolutely not.
Okay, so he knew you'd never installed.
I was a guy that could use a hammer and a nail gun.
All right, so you installed the job. How'd that go?
Installed the job. Well, I installed the job wrong.
Okay.
So what I did is I researched a little bit while I'm on the job, and I realized, hey, you just installed this floor completely wrong. And so I look at a couple of my subcontractors that I had on GC, and they were like, yeah, so what we did was we tore it completely up and then reinstalled it the right way. And to this day, I never got a complaint. But also that same day is when the GM for Lumber Liquidators came out and said, you did a great job. Do you want more work? And I was just impressed that I just beat somebody that's been working for him for 2 years at that store. And from that point on, I grew almost 16 crews throughout Iowa for Lumber Liquidator stores in about 4 or 5 years.
Now, growing crews for this gentleman who gave you a job, or growing crews for yourself?
Myself. I knew.
All right, so the guy gave you a job.
Right.
You did the job, and then you immediately started on your own, or you'd worked for them, for this gentleman for a while?
I started working with him for a while as a 1099, but what I did is instead of giving him more installers, I put them under me, and I delegated them out.
How'd you get the installers?
I just found general contractors in my area that I knew, and I started training them on how to floor.
Okay.
And it was kind of like, to this day, I'm just able to network that for some reason. It's just maybe it's the way I go about it, but I'm able to walk up to a general contractor and get their interest into the flooring industry.
All right, so you did that for how many years?
About 3 years.
Okay. Let's get back to where we're at, is how we got to here. So you were doing installs, getting your own guys. So when you're getting your own guys, I'm assuming you quit installing and you were running the crews, or were you installing and running the crews?
That's where I knew where the money was, is me quitting and just more networking and getting guys to get a better paid job and working for me. And that's how I started building these crews. I realized there was money there by getting these crews together and dominating my market, because when you take crews out of a market, you're now more of a demand than a supply. So it's just, that's when I was able to start changing numbers, is when I realized that when I took an installer from somebody, it hurt them, and it only gave me more benefit.
All right. So I tell you, like, I don't care about any of my competitors, right? I watch what they do, but I'm completely focused on myself and my company and how we grow it. I would recommend that you have the same mindset of, forget about all that outside noise. You have this, and you have to make this successful. And what Lumber Liquidators or Home Depot or person right across the street here, what they're doing is really irrelevant. If you execute your strategy, which we're going to get to while we're here, and we're probably going to mold that strategy quite a bit over the next 48 hours, and you can execute that strategy, you're going to be successful. And they're going to wonder why. But let's keep going. So you ran crews. How did you end up then having your own store?
My own store happened when Lumber Liquidators kicked out Tom Sullivan. So when that happened, I knew I needed to get all my eggs out of that one basket. I knew that I had about, within 6 months to a year, and I got this about spot on, that I needed to have my new storefront open without them knowing to get terminated. So over the next 6 to 9 months, we were secretly building my storefront for me to start generating my own leads and my own installs. So we were doing construction jobs, concrete work, floor installs for Lumber Liquidators. And it was an eye-opener that we were actually able to get this done, and we got it built out. Once it was built out, we did like a little TV ad show, kind of taking pictures and photo shots, and I invited the general manager of Lumber Liquidators to my store my opening day. And that was kind of the key point for me to say, I'm finally able to leave you. My eggs aren't in your basket. This is where I am now. And I did appreciate everything that I was able to learn with that company, because there's one thing Lumber Liquidators did really well. That was filter their installer crews. That was do background checks and make sure they're knowledgeable. Where they messed up is they only did that to 1 or 2 guys in a region, and then they hired everybody else out.
Gotcha. All right, so you invited this gentleman to your grand opening. Were you still doing work for them at that point in time, or you had,
I was terminated the next day.
From doing work for them?
Correct.
You were,
yep.
Okay. So you had to know that was going to happen going in when you invited them.
100%.
Okay. So that was kind of your FU to the guys.
Because they were, yep, and essentially it's whoever found out first, really.
Okay.
And I was grateful that I was able to get it up and
All right,
running.
so how many years ago was this when you had the store open?
2 years ago.
Okay, so you basically ended your relationship with the person who had provided you work overnight.
Correct.
And then how did those first couple months go for you?
Well, we stood around a table and I said, where's the work? Where's the leads? It was very, I remember being with Josh and Adam and everybody at the store. We just got done with a strenuous 24-hour of cleanup, getting everything ready, getting ready for the big show. Well, when all the camera crews and everything left, you just sit there and like, we don't have any leads. And I was like, well, it's time to start looking into marketing teams. And then that's where I started to really progress into learning a lot more about retail and not install.
All right, so did you guys make any money those first couple months?
Yeah,
Okay.
we did.
So where'd you get your customers?
The street sign, right?
All right, so just drive by.
Just drive by. Yeah,
Okay.
I had a big banner. So that was the first step.
And that wasn't this location, that was your other location?
Yeah, about 9 months ago, yeah.
Okay. All right, so now it's you and your team, and you've got your own store, and you're looking to make a big impact here in the city. So what's your plan?
My plan is to prove my market that I have the best installation crews. And that is my pet peeve as an installer. I'm biased on installers, I understand that.
Right.
And to learn retail a lot more. I've come a long way, have a lot more to learn.
Okay.
But I really want to push the idea that I know what I'm doing, I know how to install a job, and I know how to do it better than everybody else. And that's what I want to be known for, because it is that easy, as I started before.
Okay. So you realize not everyone you compete with is lumber liquidators,
Correct.
right? Okay.
But I also realize there's no training from my market and what I've talked to my other 1099 installers in my area. There is no training. I'm the only one that sets up these training classes, these RDX academies, these installer gauntlets. I think I'm the only one with a training platform in a warehouse.
You know, I love how you're so passionate about installer training and that, but look, that's one aspect of this whole puzzle of being able to run an effective business that's profitable and has longevity and those types of things. So yeah, we're going to talk about installers, and it sounds like you have a lot to talk about when it comes to that, and that's a huge focus of your business. But we've got to get all these other things that make a business successful as part of what you're doing here and what you're focusing on. You can't just focus on the installers. And it doesn't look like that's all your focus. It sounds like that's something you're passionate about, but we got this gorgeous showroom. We got some great products in here. So we need to talk about some of these other things of how you're running your business.
I think that'd be a good starting point, because it's to be honest, I'm half-assing it right now with what I know and what I have tools to. I have way more tools than what I know to use. And it'd be great to actually have a mentor to actually establish a system in the retail instead of install that I know. Install I'm very good at. Retail, there's a lot of work to be done.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at not just your installers, but I wanna look at how you run your whole business, your processes, your procedures. We're gonna go from start to finish. We're gonna do the work to get this place where it needs to be, or at least we're gonna put in a framework that's gonna give you the direction of the work that you need to do. So you ready to do some work?
I'm ready to do the work.
Let's do the work.
All right.
All right. We're gonna talk about how you make sales. All right, so I want to know how you prospect, how you make sales, and how you market. We're going to talk about that process, but we're not going to start there. You've made a sale. Someone here has made a sale. I want to know the process after that sale is made, all the way through installation and follow-up, okay? So we're going to talk about that process, and that's your operational process. The first part of that I described was your sales process. And those are really going to be the two main things. You need the one, right? The sales. If we don't have sales, nothing else even matters.
Right.
So we're going to talk about sales, and we're going to talk about operations. Then I'm going to talk to you about a framework, or what I call the AFS way, of how we do business with 8 key points. And then within those points, we're going to see how you stack up, right? Where you're at in each of these keys. And then where you're weak, that's where we're going to figure out how we're going to strengthen you. So talk to me about the process of what I call point of sale through general ledger. You made a sale. I come in, I buy 1,000 square foot of this wood, whatever that product is. I buy 1,000 square feet of that installed. Tell me from beginning to end what happens.
Contracts are signed, terms and conditions, installation warranty. It goes into a packet and their ink signatures, and that goes into a folder called materials tab. With that, RLM has our client tagged as order materials. So when it's in the material bin in our office, it's also on orders. It's to order on RLM. So I have a warehouse coordinator that also goes through and he sees these things. It's up in sales and I put it's job pending. He sees he has something to order. So the store doesn't order anything. The store doesn't schedule anything. The only thing it schedules is measures. So from ordering materials, Josh then says, order in transit or in process. Until that material receives, I have another Josh, who's my installation delivery coordinator, who would then say, okay, package is delivered. We need to now get this scheduled for delivery and installation, and tell the customer they need to pay the other half down. So they usually pay all money up front. We only do half down until the materials are at the warehouse. When that happens, Josh Jacobsmeyer, my installation coordinator, will see something in front of him, his packet, and he'll say, hey, this client still owes, don't schedule a delivery or an install until that's done, or alerting them that they need to pay before the installer gets there. So from that point, materials get delivered, the install is scheduled, the installer is now alerted on Rollmaster that they now have a job. And it's also on our Google Calendar, was what we derived off of from the very first beginning. But with that being all said, they have a checklist they have to have as well. So the install is scheduled, the installer goes to the job on that certain date, making sure the client is paid for. He checks all of his materials, makes sure everything's there. And then if there's anything there that is missing, he alerts the installation coordinator. 90% of the time now we have all materials on job site, so there's no change orders right away. So with that being done, the install's completed. And then at the end of it, we have a customer satisfaction form. Customer signs off, saying everything is completed, they're happy, and they can rate or review our installer as well. And then he has to turn that into our installation coordinator, Josh, to then complete the packet and hand it back to the warehouse coordinator to job cost for any job changes or change orders or price increases, and then the book's closed on that. So very rarely does it ever come back to the store after it's sold.
Okay. I heard 3 systems in there. I heard RLM, Rollmaster, and Google Calendar. Are those the 3 main pieces of technology you're using?
Those are the 3 main now, yes.
So I give Jason a lot of respect for how he came up in his description of how he got into that flooring business. You can tell he's a grinder and he's got grit. He wants to get something done and he's going to work hard to get it. And whether he's doing it right or wrong isn't the question here. It's that this is a guy that wants to succeed, and you can tell he's got the drive to succeed. Now, is he doing things right or wrong? Well, he's doing some things right and he's doing some things wrong, which is why I'm here to help him solve those issues. You know, coming up, being an installer through LL, and he tells that story of how he did that first job with never installing a floor, and then he tells us again a little bit later how LL, you know, how they figure out who their crews are and the background checks and how they make sure that they're right. So there's some contradicting story. They didn't do it with him, but they do it with everyone else. But then he went on to say they don't do it with most everyone. So not really sure how they do it, nor do I really care how they do it. Again, that's another one of those, here's someone else in the flooring industry, I don't really care about. Look, I love hearing stories about potential competitors who are doing things wrong. So that was a great story of them doing things wrong. I don't know how he was able to install a floor for someone with absolutely no experience, but it goes to show he installed it completely wrong, how to tear it up and put it down. Sounded like he watched a YouTube video to figure out how to install floors. So that was pretty interesting. Not sure about the grand opening and then inviting his former boss from LL just to give him a big FU. Sounds a little childish to me, right? Just move on with your business. Don't worry about the past. Let's focus on the future. But look, I get it. Sometimes you just want to say, look what I did. But the reality is that person probably didn't even care, right? It's a thing that you don't need to do. So, you know, let's move past that. Let's be bigger than that. And let's just move on. As far as when I asked him about, you know, what he wants to be, and he wants to prove to the market that he has the best installers. To me, look, it's great that you want to have the best installers, but the customer, like, they expect a good job no matter who they're buying for. So they don't understand that in the flooring space, there may be some good installers and bad installers. They're buying from you, they're giving you their hard-earned money, they're expecting that good job. So he instead should want to be known for quality craftsmanship as a company, not we have the best installers. No, you buy from Jason's place, then you know that you're getting a quality job. So there's other things that he should be focused on aside from just a quality job. And he's calling it the best installers. That's not the message. You get quality from Jason Potts, and you get what are those other things. So he needs to focus on, a few more things that he wants to be known for. And look, being known for quality, that's a great thing. But how he presents that and says it, I would change that. Love the fact that he gets all his money up front, and he actually does it in a very similar way that I would recommend. You get your deposit, materials come in, you go to schedule, you get the other half down. That's the way it should be done, unless you're getting all the money up front or unless you're financing it. When we're talking about his process, it sounds to me like there's a lot of packet passing. I do not like packet passing because packets get lost, things happen. I like everything to be done using technology, and hopefully I was able to explain that to him, through this process, and we can see maybe that change. But packet passing that's not a process. That's an old school way of doing business, and we live in a modern world, so I didn't like that. But aside from that, guy's got drive and got a beautiful showroom, wants to do better, thinks about process, thinks about what he wants to be known for. We just got to correct a few things here and there and get this boy on his way to success.
On the next episode of The Dealer, Jason Potts takes Jason Goldberg through his process at RIC Flooring. Coming in 2 weeks.